I'm Clay Coomer, and this is the Travel Insights Podcast. The busiest months for travel are June, July, and August. This we all likely know. But what I wanted to know is, where are people going? How much are they spending on trips? How long are they traveling for? And are there any changes compared to summer travel in 2024? Our Insights team looked into U.S. travel insurance policy data for trips departing between June and August to discover what trends are emerging, and some of them may surprise you. All of that and much more coming up next on the Travel Insights Podcast, powered by battleface. The Travel Insights Podcast is powered by battleface. Battleface has cracked the partnership code by offering one-of-a-kind products uniquely designed for how partners, travelers see the world, all backed by 24/7, 365 global assistance services. It's the perfect combination of winning at attachment and enhancing lifetime value. Battleface, built for today's travelers and building for tomorrow's. Welcome, fellow travelers. Clay Coomer here, head of marketing at battleface. And in this first segment of the Travel Insights Podcast, we are going to cover some trending destinations for upcoming trips during the summer travel months of June, July, and August. And the first trend that we are seeing is that Americans appear to be sticking closer to home for their summer travel plans. 33% of insureds have indicated that they only need coverage for the United States only. So only domestic coverage happening 33% of the time. And for international trips, 5 of the top 8 destinations are located in the Caribbean, including Guadalupe, the island of Saint Martin, Costa Rica, and St. Kitts and Nevis. The top 2 non-US and non-Caribbean countries were Italy and Great Britain. And much to my surprise, the number 1 destination state for domestic travel was Montana. I would have expected it to be Florida or possibly California, but for our data suggests that it is Montana. So how does this compare to what we saw in summer travel 2024? There were fewer domestic trips with coverage in the summer of 2024 and more international only trips with travel to European countries. That's the main takeaway. 72% of trips last year during the summer travel months were international, with the primary destinations being European countries. So the shift this year for summer travel in 2025 was more trips to the Caribbean, a little bit closer to home, and around 62% of trips were of the international variety, with European countries being a much lower percentage of the destination. So why the shift? It's tough to know for certain, but I would speculate that with all the recent news surrounding air travel, that Americans would prefer shorter flights as opposed to transatlantic jaunts to Europe. And based on average trip cost insured for summer trips, it appears Americans are also opting for less expensive trips, which we will get into more coming up next on the Travel Insights Podcast. Stick with us. Welcome back. Clay Coomer here, head of marketing at battleface. And in this segment, we are going to cover average trip cost insights for summer vacations for trips departing in June, July, and August. So it's no secret that Americans are continuing to feel the lingering effects of sustained and heightened inflation, but it doesn't appear to prohibit them from traveling. But our average trip cost data does suggest that less is being spent on summer trips. Here's what we're seeing in our data. The average trip cost per insured for summer vacations upcoming in 2025 is $3,600. The average trip cost per insured for summer vacations last year was nearly $4,000. So there is a decrease of around 7% year over year in average trip cost insured. What is also trending along this same topic is the average number of insureds per order. There appear to be more solo summer trips being insured in 2025 compared to 2024, with the average insureds per order at 1.4, which is down 17% year over year. So, because of this, the average trip cost per order is reduced even further and is down 22% year over year. This also translates to a lower amount paid in premium per order for travel insurance. So, on average, Americans are spending 8% less on travel insurance for trips in 2025 compared to trips in 2024. And the total amount of trip costs insured is one of the biggest factors in that decrease in premium paid. So, coming up next, we're going to dive into a few demographic data points right after this short break. Stick with us. The Travel Insights podcast is powered by battleface. battleface started in the UK market in 2018, offering travel protection to journalists covering news stories in conflict zone areas. What began as one product in one country has expanded to a global, multi-regional company on a mission to power the travel insurance industry. battleface, built for today's travelers and building for tomorrow's. Welcome back. Clay Coomer here, host of the Travel Insights podcast. And in this next segment, we're going to cover some trending traveler and trip demographics for summer vacations upcoming in 2025. And the first emerging trend for summer trips in 2025 is shortened vacations compared to trips during the summer months of 2024. Coming up in 2025, the average trip duration based off of battleface policy data is 9 days, whereas in 2024, trips averaged over 12 days. So we are seeing a trip length reduction on average of 3 days. The second trend that we're seeing is when Americans are booking their summer vacations, on average, the days until departure window is 169 days, or approximately 5.5 months. This means that most summer vacations were booked between January and March. Travelers who have opted to insure their summer trips also skew younger in age. Based on battleface policy data, the average age of insured is 29 years old, with 78% of travelers being under the age of 44. And the top 5 states of residence of these travelers are California, North Carolina, Texas, Virginia, and Colorado. So some interesting takeaways there as we're seeing the changes from 2025 to 2024 with, again, a few things that we're seeing is one, these shortened trips, which will also decrease the amount of premium paid because you're insuring less coverage days. And also when we look at the days to departure at 5.5 months, usually we see this average being around 90 to 100 days. But for summer trips, there is more lead time. And with that booking window being between January and March, this does follow along with an insight that we provided in our last podcast around the 4 phases of travel. So coming up next in our last segment of the podcast, we're going to take a look at the types of travel insurance benefits summer travelers are attaching the most to their policies. Stick with us. Welcome back. And in our last segment of this podcast, we're going to cover some trending travel protection benefits for summer trips. And ranked in order of individual attachment to a policy, here are the top benefits selected by summer travelers. Coming in at number 1 is the trip cancellation benefit, attached to 96% of policies. Number 2 is the trip interruption benefit, attached to 83% of policies. Number 3 is the travel medical with emergency medical evacuation at 66% of policies. And number 4 is baggage protection at 61% of policies. And number 5 is cancel for any reason, or CFAR, at 32% of policies. So when we look at the top two benefits that grew the most in terms of popularity compared to 2024 summer trips, the top two were baggage protection, which grew 161%, and the travel medical benefit grew 51%. And when we look at the most popular benefit bundles for summer trips, here are the top three that we saw. So the number one bundle included the benefits trip cancellation, trip interruption, travel medical, and baggage protection. When those four benefits were combined together, that was 32% of policies. The second most popular bundle was a two benefit bundle and included trip cancellation and CFAR, which was attached to 16% of policies. And the number three most attached benefit bundle was the same as number one, which included trip cancellation, trip interruption, travel medical, and baggage, but it also included the CFAR benefit. So 5 total benefits, and that was added to 13% of policies. And on average, for summer trips coming up in 2025, an individual traveler paid $123 in premium per policy. But the main thing to take away here is that summer travelers seemingly have found the most value in protecting their health and medical emergencies, as well as their luggage for upcoming trips. This actually surprised me a little bit because when I think about travel protection plans, particularly travel protection for domestic trips in the US, oftentimes I do not see travel medical with emergency medical evacuation and baggage protection as being two benefits that are oftentimes selected. Normally, we see those two benefits attached with the most popularity for international trips, but they are seemingly more popular this summer, even for these domestic trips. Up next, to close out this podcast, we'll cover some of the highlights from this podcast and the top emerging trends you should know for the upcoming summer travel season. Stick with us. Welcome back. Clay Coomer here, head of marketing at battleface. And here are a few key sound bites from this podcast to remember as we conclude this episode. U.S. travelers are opting to stay closer to home this summer, with 33% of insureds only including the U.S. as the covered area of travel, and the top international destinations are in the Caribbean. The average trip cost insured per person for 2025 summer trips is $3,600, down 7% compared to summer trips in 2024. The average number of insureds per order is 1.4, down 17% year over year, with average premium paid per order down 8%. The average trip length during the summer months is 9 days, which is 3 days shorter on average compared to last summer, with the primary booking months for summer trips between January and March. The average age of summer travelers is 29 years old, with 78% of insured travelers being under the age of 44. The top two states of residence for insured travelers for summer trips are California and North Carolina. The top two most popular benefits selected by summer travelers is trip cancellation and trip interruption, and the two benefits that grew in popularity the most compared to summer trips in 2024 are travel medical with emergency medical evacuation and baggage protection. So those are your key highlights and the main things that you should know going into the summer travel season. And that concludes this episode of the Travel Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Clay Coomer, head of marketing at battleface. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Travel Insights Podcast, available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We'll see you again next time. And until then, safe travels.